The wind has abated, which is fantastic, and I'm glad I'm doing one of these because it's been a while. And this is what the GoPro is brilliant at doing, because it's such a lightweight camera. You can just hold it above myself like this and walk for hours if I wanted to. It wouldn't be a major burden physically. But you know, so hats off to the guys who developed that technology. They did very well. But I'll still be using the other camera for most of the work. It's a superior picture quality and sound quality, so, and I paid a lot more for it, so I want to bloody use it. But yeah, getting on to you know what I was saying about, you know, the academic thing. It does drive me nuts about what we waste money on subsidising really bad courses. We also are paying public education, not just public, private education is all affected by the curriculum, which has now become incredibly politicised. So at secondary level, there's real problems with education. We're cluttering the kids up with a lot of garbage where they should be learning the basics like kids in Asia do. They're focused on outcomes more, I think. They say they don't get taught to do critical thinking as much as kids in the West, but I think the pendulum might have swung too far the other way now, and now they're just not doing the basics in the West, and we're paying the price. It's going to be with us for decades, because it's a whole group of people. I mean, unless they can be given upskilled somehow, maybe that's the only way we can do it. We've got to upskill people, get employers to demand that employees, you know, learn basic skills and go back to school if they have to. But one of my biggest bugbears, though, something drives me absolutely nuts, is waste, government waste. And I mean, you know, Australia seems to be fantastic at it. A lot of countries are. But the classic hangover for a lot of bad policies is these insane green policies that led to a lot of state governments in Australia panicking and building these gigantic desal plants for water, many of which, or nearly all of which, are not being used for their intended purposes, yet are still a drain on public finances, pardon the pun. They are. They're just, you have to pay for the damn things, even when you're not taking a drop of water from them. Great deal for the developers, but a really lousy deal for the poor old constituency. Anyway, I got off the track a bit there. I was talking about Philip DeFranco because he's such a prominent figure, talking head amongst YouTubers. He's got such a big following that he's important to talk about. Now, poor old Philip DeFranco has been hit by this demonetization wave that swept through YouTube, and basically everything has to be advertiser friendly. Now, to me, what Philip DeFranco says is fairly innocuous. It's just his opinion, and it's not graphic what he presents. It's not super controversial. It's not like he's from some loopy far end of a political spectrum. He's a libertarian, for God's sake. And apparently libertarians are just too out there for YouTube and the advertisers that sponsor a lot of these clips. And he cannot receive money for it that way anymore. I just think it's scandalous, because what really sticks in my craw is the likes of CNN still are able to put their product up there and get full coverage from sponsors. Personally, I think the sponsors are idiots, because CNN is dying. It's losing all credibility. It's the doyen of fake news these days, and if I was an advertiser, that'd be the last company I want to be associated with. But it appears as if YouTube is giving preference to them, and I think that stinks, because YouTube should really be looking after independent creators. It's harder work because it's obviously easier to deal with a larger entity such as a CNN or a big media monolith, any of those media monoliths, rather than some independent operator, because obviously the potential income's quite good. Although the Philip DeFrancos of this world are getting a lot of hits. They're creating a hell of a lot of traffic for YouTube, so they've got to be careful. because if people like him migrate to a new platform, that's exactly what could be enough to kickstart that platform with enough traffic to hit that critical mass and make it a viable alternative to YouTube. So, you know, anything online it's one thing we have learned over the years is that because of the technology, if you want to build up a new empire, a new player, it's a lot easier than it was in the past. Some capital is required, obviously infrastructure is required, but nowhere near as much as in old technologies. So say the analogy between, say, the press and online. Well, the press had to actually physically have presses, and that's a lot of capital expenditure. They had to have distribution, and again, that takes a lot of organisation, a lot of money and capital. But these days, distribution can be done through a platform such as YouTube. So that's one of the biggest headaches out of the way. So it's changed the parameters that much that now players like a Philip DeFranco can really make a big presence without actually a big risk involved with their, you know, like they have to mortgage their house, for instance. So yeah, Philip's good, and Dave Rubin is actually he's a stand-up comic, and he's based in LA, and he does the same thing, interviews people, non-confrontational to a large extent, but genuine conversations without labelling people. He's fed up with he's probably left of centre, and he'd admit that, but he doesn't like the fact that a lot of the left of centre thinkers these days are basically shouting down other people. It's quite ironic considering that the left of centre is the ones who come up with concepts such as safe spaces and things like that to protect people from being you know, molested intellectually, I guess, or emotionally. Yet they're the same people who basically stifle speech from people such as libertarians. It's insane. They've destroyed clean independent thinking at universities to a large extent, and they should be held in absolute disdain for that. Anyway, those are just a few of my thoughts on this beautiful sunny day. And remember, please subscribe to my channel. That would be nice, and a thumbs up would be good.